How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading whether price is going up or down. Ripple takes UK currency exchange to London court over $15 million dispute. Ripple Labs Singapore has taken legal action against GCC exchange. The lawsuit stems from alleged non-payment issues concerning the transfer of XRP liquidity injected by Ripple's Singapore-based entity. According to Law 360, a legal news agency, the lawsuit filed in July 2023 claims that the GCC exchanges failed to fulfill their financial obligations for 40,000 XRP transfers. Per the report, these transfers were executed as part of a previously agreed upon supply deal between both parties. Ripple alleges that the exchange has neglected to settle outstanding invoices for successfully withdrawing XRP units. As a result, the lawsuit has been submitted to the High Court of Justice of England and Wales, indicating that the seriousness of Ripple's pursuit to obtain their own funds. So basically, the exchange took XRP coins from Ripple and never gave them the money. Grayscale Prods SEC to approve Bitcoin spot ETF after court victory. So my highlights are gone. My internet's being a little goofy right now. The letter comes after the 3-judge panel of U.S. Courts of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit ruled last week that the SEC was wrong to reject Grayscale's proposed Bitcoin ETF without adequately explaining its reasoning. The ruling requires the SEC to review the application again, although the agency still has time to appeal. We believe the Commission should conclude that there are no grounds for treating the trust differently from ETPs, exchange-traded products that invest in Bitcoin futures contracts, the lawyer wrote, citing Bitcoin futures ETFs that the SEC has already approved. Basically, what they're saying here is that because Grayscale plans on using the CME, just like the approved futures ETFs do, there should be no discrepancy for approving it. Ice cold Feds freeze Celsius founder Alex Mashinsky's assets. So, Feds hit alleged crypto conman and ex-CEO Celsius Network Alex Mashinsky with 7 criminal charges in July, and now they want to freeze his assets. A court order filed yesterday shows the Department of Justice has ordered his numerous bank accounts be frozen, and there should be no money leaving the accounts at Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, First Republic Securities, SoFi Bank, and SoFi Securities. It also mentions a Texas property owned by Mashinsky and shared by his wife Christy. Federal prosecutors in July charged Mashinsky with fraud, alleging that he misled investors and his firm engaged in risky trading practices. Feds allege that Mashinsky promised investors that it was safe to keep using the platform. He even touted it was an alternative to banks, even though he knew it wasn't, and he was cashing out himself, ultimately pocketing $42 million by defrauding customers, so likely they are freezing his assets to reclaim that $42 million. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest 21 shares apply for the first spot Ethereum ETF. Dubbed the ARK 21 shares Ethereum ETF, the application resembles those for spot Bitcoin ETFs that were recently delayed by the SEC. They're going to use Coinbase with their custodian, and if that's the problem that the SEC is having with the ETFs, and they deny it because of that, it would likely be that this one would get denied as well, so we're going to have to see if that was a wise choice or not. There's really not too much more that's useful, just citing different various speculations. Under the charts, our stochastic is falling, our RSI is pretty flat. So even though it's losing strength, the stochastic has fallen into bearish territory. The RSI is holding ground. We are kind of just falling pretty flat here. This ultimately could be a bear flag we're forming, which could just end up giving us another leg down. But we're kind of flat, we're not really going anywhere, so just watch out for some surprise momentum if some bullish news happens. Our momentum does want to come up. Our money flow does have higher lows. We are working on lower highs currently though, so we could form a bear trend. So keep that in mind and watch out for that. If that happens, we could see continual downside. Over on Bitcoin dominance, we are starting to slide a little bit. Nothing too extreme. Our stochastic is falling, RSI is falling, our VWAP is pretty flat here at about 7, 8. So so we are making a double bottom potentially. If we manage to push up, our VWAP could start to gain some bullish momentum, as if we start to push and meet resistance here and don't manage to break through, we would see reverse momentum, and that would be going upwards since we're coming down. Our momentum is coming out, money flow is trending out with a bearish trend, so overall we do look a little more bearish than bullish. Over on Bitcoin futures, we're pretty flat here, not really going anywhere. Our stochastic does want to make a bullish cross, but it could just flop over. Our RSI is pretty flat. Our VWAP is trying to break through that neutral. It wants to gain some bullish momentum, but we'll have to see if it can actually break through with strength. Our momentum does want to come up, but if that VWAP kind of rolls away, that momentum will start to straighten out. Our money flow is in a bearish trend here as well. So overall, we could see more selling pressure than buying pressure if our money flow doesn't start to reverse. Over on Bitcoin, we're pretty flat here. Starting to kind of fall away from our bear flag, but not too drastically. Our stochastic is pushing away. Our RSI is pretty flat. Our VWAP is pretty flat. And our money flow is trying to come up. Speaking of up, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and join us in the Discord link up above. Our momentum does want to make a little bit of a rebound as our VWAP is trying to go bullish, but as that VWAP rides under that neutral, it is flattening out and tapering down. So if our VWAP doesn't break through soon, we could ultimately get sucked down. Over on the 4 hour, our stochastic is running up, our RSI is heading up, our VWAP is heading up, our money flow is trying to trend up, and our momentum's coming up with a green dot as our VWAP's carrying up pretty strongly. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a manipulation X that wanted to bring us down, but we are bouncing away from it, trying to invalidate it. We did have a pretty strong green candle, or red candle here, that brought us down on the hourly, and the money flow was pretty deep in the red, but our money flow managed to sustain in the green here on the 2 hour. Our VWAP has managed to maintain bullish strength, and our momentum is coming up. The stochastic's starting to roll out, and the RSI is trying to head up, but the stochastic loses strength here, the RSI is likely to do the same. Over at the 1 hour, we are getting a little bit of a reversal arrow here, so that could signal we could drop from here, so watch out for that. Our money flow is just flipping into the bullish territory here, with our VWAP maintaining bullish strength. When that VWAP broke bullish, that's when we managed to take off from that drop. So we managed to invalidate the bearish possibility when our money flow was coming out that we warned about in our Discord. Our VWAP is making lower highs. Our money flow is not too strong in the bullish territory currently, but our momentum's trying to come up. If the money flow can maintain bullish momentum and stay in the green, and our VWAP can maintain bullish momentum as well, we may be able to trend back up and invalidate this reversal arrow. However, it could end up bringing us down if we lose our bullish momentum very quickly, or go pretty flat like we did back here. Over on graph, we are slightly trying to come into our flag, but we didn't really manage to break any ground today. Our stochastic's starting to bend, our RSI is pretty flat, our VWAP is pretty flat, it is a little wishy-washy. If you zoom in, it is trying to go up, but it's pretty flat overall. Our money flow is rolling out, so the bearish momentum is gaining some strength there. We do have a bullish divergence on our momentum, so that does want to push us up. But if we get a red candle in the next couple of days or tomorrow, we could invalidate that possibility and see continued downside. So we would really need to break above this resistance. If we keep getting rejected by it, we could ultimately roll away from it. But do bear in mind that every time you touch a support or resistance, you weaken it. We do have two manipulation X's here that want to bring us down. We are trying to pump away from them though, so we're trying to invalidate those. Our stochastic's trying to head up. The RSI is in a bit of an uptrend. Our money flow's on the bearish trend. Our VWAP did break bullish and our momentum's trying to come up. We are pretty sloppy right here, so keep that in mind. If the lower time frames can maintain strong bullish momentum, and may be able to propel the 4-hour higher. We are seeing a little bit of an indecision here with the reversal on the green candle. We did drop from it. However, we're starting to flatten out again. So if we don't form a bear flag here, then we could end up pumping up. Stochastic is starting to roll out. Our RSI is coming out. Our momentum does want to come up. Our VWAP though is looking like it's struggling to get strong bullish momentum above this 9.7, and it looks like we could see a rejection here if we're not careful. Over on the 1 hour, we have a little bit of a reversal indecision right here again. So a lot of those showing up lately. Our stochastic is trying to run up. RSI is pretty flat. The momentum's starting to come out. The VWAP is getting lower highs slightly and heading back toward that neutral. And the money flow was running up, but it's starting to curl away. So we could end up getting rejected right around this 10, which seems to be a bit of a resistance area for it. And if that does happen, we could form a new low and continue our bearish trend. Over on Anchor for the daily, not really going anywhere here either. Pretty flat day, pretty flat week to be honest. RSI is pretty flat, stochastic's heading up. Our VWAP's flat, our money flow is flat under that neutral. Our momentum is trying to get that bullish divergence, but we're not really getting much lift off from it. Over on the 4 hour here, we do have a little bit of a gap here, so we could end up seeing that reject us down. I think we had that 1864, so we might have filled that today. We'll have to look on lower time frames. Our momentum's starting to come down overall, but we do have a green dot as our VWAP broke bullish, so that could propel us forward. Our money flow is in the bearish territory. We are kind of getting trapped between this 9 and 16 zone, so if we're not able to break through the 9 zone, we could come back down for another swing to the 16 and potentially lower. Over on the 2 hour, we did come up pretty decent. Didn't quite fill. Let's see. Actually, yeah, we didn't quite fill that today. We did fill some of it yesterday, so we could come up for another scam pump up, maybe capture that gap, and then come back down. Our RSI is pretty flat. Stochastic's starting to roll over. Our momentum's getting lower highs. Our VWAP is trying to head up, and our money flow is in the bullish territory. So we do have several lanes pointing upwards and pushing into the bullish territory. If that continues, we could get a strong move up. However, if we hit that point I warned about and kind of see a rejection, we could get lower price action. Stochastic's trying to come up. RSI is trying to come up. Our money flow did bounce off the neutral twice and is going pretty strong into the bullish territory. Our VWAP's in the bullish territory and our momentum's in the bullish territory, so overall we're seeing lanes run up here as well. Again, if those continue, that could strengthen our higher or medium time frames. Over on XRP, we are getting a little bit of a rejection down toward our flag, but we do also have a long lower shadow candle. So we have the potential to open with a green candle here, push back into this pattern, and get some upside. However, that would leave us open to fill quite a few wicks too. Our stochastic is starting to roll over, our RSI is coming down, our money flow is in the bearish territory. We are seeing lower highs currently, so if we continue down and see lower lows, we could get another bear trend to form and go toward that value area low here. Our momentum did want to come up, but because our VWAP's breaking back toward that bearish territory, our momentum's got a red dot and it's going to continue to head down unless that VWAP can gain some strength. Over on the 4 hour, we are trying to trend up, so we could form some sort of ascending triangle here that could try to push us higher. Our stochastic is running up, RSI is trying to run up, our VWAP's in the bullish territory trying to head up. Our money flow is getting lower lows with lower highs currently, so if we don't manage to break above the 7 or 8 area, then we could see a bearish trend take us down. That momentum does want to come up with a green dot as the VWAP's breaking bullish, But if the VWAP gets rejected around the 6 zone like it has a couple times before, we could see another swing down. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's starting to roll over. Our RSI is kind of starting to follow. Our VWAP, it was running up pretty strong. It's starting to kind of flatten out. The money flow is in the bullish territory, but it's struggling to get above this 5, like 4.5, 5 zone. Our momentum does want to come up, but if that VWAP starts to come down, the momentum's likely to follow. Over on the 1 hour, we have a reversal arrow here that wants to bring us down, so we could start arching down and forming a kind of rounding top. Our stochastic does want to head down. Our RSI is kind of curling out. The VWAP is starting to lose some steam here. The money flow is in the bullish territory, so that does want to push us higher. But if our other indicators keep getting bearish trajectory, that could be short-lived and it could just flip back over the bearish side. So I would watch closely. Now we could also pump up since we are getting that bullish confirmation here if the money flow manages to gain some significant strength. Over on Algo for the daily, we are kind of bouncing off the bottom of our flag. We did almost get scan breakout, but nothing too great. Stochastic's starting to get a bearish cross. RSI is starting to flatten out and taper down. Our money flow overall is rounding under that neutral, so it's starting to kind of round away from a bullish possibility. Our VWAP is breaking into the bearish territory, giving our momentum a red dot. So if that VWAP continues bearish trajectory and doesn't just bounce from here like it did back there, we could see continued downside, and we could see a breakdown of our pattern. Over on the 4 hour, we're just bouncing along the bottom of our support, so we're making it very weak. We did not come up and run up, so we are weakening our support. RSI is trying to head up. Our stochastic wants to run up with a bullish divergence, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to pump up. You will get bullish divergences when you're pushing down. Our VWAP is trying to head up. We are getting lower highs. Our money flow is trying to break bullishly, so with the VWAP and money flow being bullish, that could propel us forward, but we're going to need that to sustain. If we just roll away from here, we could just break down and get rejected. Our momentum's trying to come up with the green dot, as our VWAP does have some strength going right now. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic is starting to round off. We're flashing a reversal arrow, so we want to come back down, or at least get a different trend. Now that different trend could be upside because we were overall coming down and going sideways. Our stochastic's starting to round off, RSI is starting to round away, the VWAP's starting to round away, and the money flow is struggling to break past this 15. It's been rejected here 3 times now. So even though the money flow is gaining strength, price action really isn't reflecting that. So if the money flow doesn't get some significant strength and the VWAP push up from here, we could see both roll over and we could just drop away. Our momentum's trying to push up, but again, that's dependent on the VWAP. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a reversal arrow followed by a green candle. Usually you get a little bit of run up or a decent run up, so that could propel us forward, but then we could get a rejection from that. Sometimes you end up a little bit lower after that. Our stochastic's starting to round off. Our RSI is starting to round off. Our VWAP is getting higher highs. We are getting higher lows, so it's in a bullish trend. Our money flow did bounce off the neutral, and it is maintaining bullish strength. And our momentum is coming up. So overall, if we don't get some red candles here, we do have a setup to kind of propel us forward and test some higher price action, maybe somewhere in this 9.5 zone, or possibly even higher if we blow past that. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.